Hey, what's up, Aquamigos? So if you saw my last video, we anchored our DIY settlement tank to the koi pond, and today we're going to be moving on to the next step of filtration, which is going to be this box right here. This is going to be our DIY chamber for some mechanical filtration, and this is also going to house the pond pump. The pond pump I bought is this one over here. It's the Pariha 16,000. So pretty much what's going to happen, guys, is this settlement tank will be gravity fed from the bottom drain and the skimmer. Then I'm going to have another 4-inch pipe coming out of here, and let me just show you guys a little demonstration of what I'm talking about. I'm gonna have a 4-inch pipe coming out of the settlement tank going into this container right here, and then I'm going to submerge that pond pump on that side, and that will pump the water to our biological filtration. Now the cool thing about this plastic tote, it's by the brand Cobalt, and I bought it from Home Depot, and the cool thing about it is that it's basically the same exact height as our pond's retaining wall. Look at that, it's almost the same exact height. So all I'm going to really have to do is I'm going to have to dig a foundation out in the dirt about as deep as this bender board right here. This is 5 1/4 inches deep, so I'm going to have to dig 5 1/4 inches into the ground, and the footprint of that hole will match the footprint of this plastic tote right here. We're gonna put that on top. We're going to anchor that concrete to the settlement tank's foundation as well as the footing of the retaining wall. So it's all going to be more or less one piece of concrete, and hopefully that will prevent this thing from shifting over time. You know, as the ground moves, this thing might want to shift, but hopefully it won't if everything is like anchored together. One thing I am going to have to watch out for is I need to make sure that I don't make this tote go too close to that wall over here, because I'm going to need to dig a trench over here to have my return lines. So I want to make sure that there's nothing like in the way of this kind of path right here. So yeah guys, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, when it comes to the hole, it looks like I got things roughly to where they need to be at. If we take a look at this level, you know, we're 5 1/4 inches down right here because we need it to be level with the earth on this side of the retaining wall, and the ground here kind of slopes upward, so I had to dig a little bit deeper on this side. But it looks like from there to here we are almost level. I need to clean it up a little bit more, but we're almost level. And then if we take a look at this side, like say, let me get the other level out, but yeah, here if we take a look at this, on this side we're a little bit off still, or actually we're pretty good on that side also. So yeah, I just need to clean it up a little bit, and then that should probably be it. But I think we got the hole to the right size, just need to clean it up a little. So I actually ran out of the shorter wooden stakes, but luckily I still had some long ones left. So I was actually able to cut the long ones in half to make more short ones. Kind of saved me a trip to the hardware store there. And then if I want, with those other halves that I'm discarding, I could actually sharpen those and make stakes out of those as well. So that worked out pretty well. And when it comes to making this concrete form, throughout this project, like building this pond, I've been using these bender boards, and I'm actually recycling some old pieces that I had here. But these bender boards, they seem to work pretty well for this, and they're actually meant for creating like edges in a garden. And I found them in the gardening section of Lowe's, and they've worked out pretty well, so that's what I'm using here. Alright Aquamigos, check it out. I got the Cobalt tote pretty much level with the retaining wall, if you see that right there. And right now I just have it sitting on top of those stakes that I just hammered in. It's kind of sitting right on top of those. So the next thing I need to do is I need to remove the tote again, and then I'm going to take some of these bender boards that I have over here, and I'm going to screw those to the stakes with the tops of the bender boards even with the tops of the stakes. Then I'll go ahead and pour concrete. I'll make sure the concrete is all level with the tops of those bender boards and the tops of those stakes, so that when the concrete is dry and I go to set that tote on top of the concrete, the top of the tote will be level with the top of the retaining wall. All right, Aquamigos, check it out. I got all the forms in place. The reason I did not cover any of this side is because just like on that side, I'm going to need this whole thing coming from down there all the way over here to be one solid piece. And then just like we did with the foundation for the settlement tank, I'm going to have to put rebar into the bottom of the footing of the retaining wall, have it come out into here. And then I'm also going to have to drill into this concrete right here, stick some rebar in there that will connect to this side over here. So that's why this whole side is open, because the concrete's going to have to connect to that. And the reason I have this one stake over here by itself is because that's where I know I need to have all this concrete level before it can slope back down to the bottom of the retaining wall. Because as you see here, we are on a slight hill. So actually the foundation is actually going to be a bit higher up than where the bottom of that wall is. I know it's a little bit hard to explain, but the reason that we need the concrete over here to be at this height is so the top of that plastic tote will be level with the top of the retaining wall. So I'm actually probably going to call it a day right now because it's going to get dark soon. I could turn on the floodlights and work with the floodlights, but the problem with that is I feel like the footage on camera, it just doesn't look that good with the floodlights. So I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow to continue. All right, Aquamigos, it's the next day now. It's a little bit chilly out, but let's go ahead and we'll continue with the pond. So I'm just cleaning up the area right here, kind of getting it ready for the concrete. And then I'm getting the hammer drill out so I can drill the holes for the rebar. The hammer drill has been a tool that has really helped me out throughout this project. And I just want to give a huge shout out to my dad for just having all of these other tools that I could use. I mean, I did have to buy the hammer drill, but I mean, all the other tools that I'm using, my dad just happened to have. So luckily I was able to use those because it literally saved me hundreds of dollars not having to buy those tools. And then over here, I kind of have to do like a custom cut to this bender board right here to make it fit over that existing slab of concrete. And I think I got a pretty good form there. All right, Aquamigos, just a quick little update. I ended up setting up another bender board right there, just in case we get a little bit of overflow from this side. And just to explain what's going on real quick. So this whole area is going to get filled with concrete. There is a gap under this bender board right here, which is fine. I do want concrete to flow underneath there, but I don't really want to get concrete like all up in this area. So hopefully this will prevent concrete from like going to the other side and then overflowing up here, which is why I have this here just in case. And then I think all I need to do is I need to put like, I was thinking about doing this, just putting a piece of wood like across there so that concrete can still flow underneath, and I make sure that it goes to the height of the top of that wood right there. So I think I'll attach that, and then I'll just go in here and I'll clean off all the old concrete, the concrete that I poured in my last video. I'll just go ahead and clean all those surfaces off, and we should be ready for the concrete. And of course, just like in my last video, I have this concrete adhesive, this concrete bonding adhesive, which I will apply to those old surfaces of concrete. Yeah, let's keep going. All right, guys, so I totally Mickey Mouse this piece of wood on there, but as long as it serves the function, I don't really care. But yeah, that should be pretty, it's not even moving, so I think that'll be totally fine. And check that out. I mean, that is pretty level. That is pretty level. So I'm just going to do my best to clean things up a bit, and then we can move on to the concrete. So here I am, guys, once again mixing concrete by hand. And I know I was kind of lamenting in my last video about how I should have bought an inexpensive cement mixer at the start of this project, but I was always just kind of like, oh, you know, I'll be done soon and then I won't need a cement mixer. It's funny because recently I was kind of talking to my dad, and it sounds like I'm going to have to help him with another concrete project at the house. So it's kind of funny. It's like the concrete work doesn't seem to be ending for me. But whatever, it's really not that bad mixing it by hand if I don't have to do too many bags. I think I used a total of like 4 bags in this video here. Alright guys, I'm exhausted. I'm a little bit dizzy, but I think we're finally done. Let's take a final look at what we did today. We got the foundation for that rectangular tote that we have over here. It's going to serve as some mechanical filtration as well as housing the pond pump. So that's gonna go right on there. We have that anchored to this concrete right here, which is supporting the settlement tank. We also have it anchored to the footing of the pond's retaining wall. So I mean, I think it'll be solid. In my next video, we're going to drill holes in the settlement tank and also that tote over there so we can connect the two together. And also be sure to watch the next video if you want to see how that looks like once it's all dry. And as usual, guys, I would love to give a huge shout out to all the Aquamigos. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I really appreciate that. As usual, it would really help me out if you guys went down there and gave this video a like. I'd really appreciate that. If you would like to see more of this pond build progress, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also that bell notifications button. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, I'll go ahead and put my handle right here, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Peace!